Good morning, my fellow cheese lovers. It's that time again for another topic. I know you guys, it's that time of the week, so guess what we're going to talk about today? That's right, the Olympics. The NBA is over. Next thing on the docket is the Olympics. And boy, do we have a lot to discuss here. Where to even begin? Well, let's start with the obvious. Yes, I believe it was yesterday morning. We had Simone Biles, the clear, gold medal guarantee for the United States, so to speak, in the team and in individual, in my opinion. I mean, come on. She has bowed out. And the reasoning initially was reported that there was an injury. Come to find out from her own admission, obviously in the press conference, sort of it was for mental illness, mental instability, whatever the case may be. And the internet has just been a firestorm. It has blown up. I mean, this is insane what's going on right now between I'm gonna say left and right, not political, just putting people on two different sides. So people who think that she sold out her team, she quit, and the people that are obviously saying, hey, she did it for the betterment of herself, well-being, etc., etc. Okay. Where do I stand on this? I stand on the side of she quit. But before you go keyboard ninja, and raging about that, I'm gonna explain myself and what I'm comparing it to, and how sports has become, how we got here in sports. Ooh, excuse me, COVID sneeze. Just kidding, calm down. All right, so Simone has said that the stress of competing. Keep in mind, this is somebody who won it all at the last Olympics and has just been cleaning up in world championship competitions, etc., year after year. She is the GOAT. By her own admission, she's the GOAT, which I have a kind of a problem with that. I mean, she got the little GOAT symbol on. I don't think she's wearing it in this Olympics, but she has worn it before. The little jewel goat on her uniform. So people call her the GOAT, and she's proclaimed herself the GOAT. So with that comes GOAT standards. You can't get around that. Okay? When you proclaim yourself the GOAT, it comes with it a level of expectation that is unfair. It's warranted, but it may not be fair. And you need to. She was doing so well. Simone Biles was that one shining beacon of hope, well-spoken, came from a pretty bad background, and turned her whole life around, became the greatest gymnast that we've seen. So this move at the Olympics, it just doesn't look good. And the reason I'm even saying this is because her teammates, okay, black and white, in the press conference, you could see that the answers they were giving were just scripted. They sat these poor girls down and told them what to say and how to respond to what the media was obviously going to ask them. I don't know if Simone's was scripted. She probably spoke from the heart. But her three teammates, there is no way these girls were not disappointed. Okay, there is no way. When you are playing a team sport, and I'm gonna go back 80s, 90s, when you have GOATs on your team, Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, Shaq, Kobe, Troy Aikman, Tom Brady, Thurman Thomas. You know what I'm saying? When you have Jim Kelly, even if they didn't win the Super Bowl, but come on. When you have people on your team that you are relying on to come up big in the big moments and something takes them out, usually injury, it can really be demoralizing to the team. Not saying the rest of the team can't pull up the slack. We've seen that before. But people rely on the superstars. Simone Biles clearly is the superstar of the Olympics. She's having a rough Olympics, not landing her jumps and things like that. Something's off. The team kind of sees that, but she's still Simone Biles. They're still looking up to her. She's 24. A lot of these, I don't know the ages of the rest of the girls, but most of them are probably younger. This is probably their first. Some of them will be their last Olympics. So she is the mother figure here, okay? And this mother figure, after a failed vault attempt, comes back and says that I can't do this anymore. You girls will be fine. I've been here before. This is your first time. Do the best you can. What? What? How are they supposed to react to that? Everyone is saying the mental illness of the mental stability of Simone Biles. What about the mental stability of her teammates? What are they supposed to do with that news? Just mosey on and just keep on going? Your number one person comes out, not because of an injury, physical injury, they just don't feel it anymore. There's too much pressure. The pressure cooker has boiled over on them in the heart of competition at the highest point. They're gone because they don't feel like it. They don't feel up to the part. She didn't want to risk, getting them off of medal contention. Didn't want to risk maybe injuring herself. I get that part, I'm not going to argue her with that, because if you're not flipping through the air, you better have your wits together. Otherwise, you end up landing on your head and it's game over. But as a teammate, though, of course they're going to react the way they're going to think that, what the heck? What do you mean you're out? But they can't say that, though. They sent them down at the press conference with that prepared speech. And, we were a little bit shocked, but, we understand. You go, girl. You do you. Get better. We love you. Huggy, huggy, huggy. No, that's not what's going on in their heads. Don't be fooled, people. You guys watching this video are smarter than this. You know that those girls were thinking, you've got to be you-know-what me. This girl just left us to high and dry. Thank God we at least got a silver medal, because we had some talent left. But the Russians are falling off the balance beam. It's just been a fiasco right now. So they got the silver. Simone's out. She may come back for the individual. She may not. I got to follow up today, July 28th, and see what's going on with that. Because if she comes back for the individual after her mental rest period has now recharged her and wins that, what does that say? So you're either in or you're out. So if she's out, she's out. But don't tell me you're coming back for the individual. But, listen, where did this all start? I have a fear, and I was telling my sister this. We talked about this a lot last night and a little bit this morning. But I have an innate fear that we may be setting a precedent that we've never seen before in sports. And I hope this does not happen, where athletes can face diversity. Athletes have been facing diversity since Jesse Owens ran the 100-meter dash in front of Hitler. That's right. In case you all new people don't know anything about this, but the old schoolers 40 and up, you know what I'm talking about. So adversity has been around for a while. It's nothing new. But how it's handled is different now, because this is a coddle society. This is a pat you on the head society. This is a participation trophy society. We have decided that our athletes, the people that we supposedly look up to, the extra in society, the faster, the stronger ones, the bigger ones, we have decided that they need to now be rocked and cradled all the way from competition back to their $100 million mansions in Beverly Hills. That's what we do now. And if you dare say anything different about these people, you will be labeled an ist. You run down the list, put IST after it, that's you if you say anything about an athlete taking time off from mental issues now. Kyrie Irving is the king of this. It started with him. Not, maybe not started with him, but he's notorious for having these mental breaks during the season, when his teams need him, leaving teams because he doesn't feel comfortable, just skating on by, That's Kyrie Irving. Then the big one recently was, of course, Naomi Osaka. She skipped out on the I believe it was the French, and then during one tournament, I don't even remember. Was it? No, it wasn't the U.S. Open. One of the tournaments. It was the French and Wimbledon, because she didn't do Wimbledon either, and because of mental issues. And in her case, it's an individual sport, so you want to take yourself out, whatever. You're not hurting anybody per se, because it's just an individual sport. But in team sports now, like I said, Kyrie and now Simone, people rely on you when you have that level of talent. And this idea of just, I can use this excuse of I'm not mentally there, and people will leave me alone. They'll say, oh, you take the time off and you handle it, and it's okay, we'll wait. And they rub you on the head and they rub you on the back and they let you go. Can you imagine what this would have been like back when Michael Jordan played, when Joe Montana played, Willis Reed back in the 70s coming out the locker room with a muscle tear in his thigh, okay, to will his team to victory. Little short girl, Kerry Strug, jumping on a broken ankle or something. Yeah, I get back in those days, athletes were probably treated like crap, quote unquote. They weren't paid anywhere near the money that the athletes are paid today. There probably was some abuse going on. We don't know. We're never going to really find out the ins and outs of all of that. But the imagery to the public that these people were they would compete. You had to chop Michael Jordan's legs off to get him out of a game. Are you kidding me? This man played games through the flu. He could barely walk off the court. His teammates had to take him out there. The mentality was different back then, and they did have stresses on them, different stresses than today, because today you have Twitterverse and Instagram and all this other crap where people can criticize you and beat you down. So the stresses are different. But there still was stress. It's just how it was handled. So I don't want this to become the norm with athletes. I hope that Naomi and Simone, if they are having these types of issues, that they do seek professional help and they do get themselves corrected. In the case of Simone Biles, and this is probably her last Olympics anyway, she may do, I guess, the World Championships after, who knows. But with gymnasts, yeah, 1 or 2 Olympics and that's usually it. That sport just beats you to death physically. So, but Naomi, she's still young. Get yourself together and get back on the court. But I don't, from the aspect of competing and giving your all, it didn't look good. It didn't look good. So that's my take on that part of the Olympics with Simone Biles, and how I think, yes, she did quit on her team. And that's my explanation of why I think she quit on her team. But if you disagree with that and think that, hey, she didn't quit, she just made the right decision, hey, that's cool, but I don't have to be an ist because I have a different opinion than you, okay? I don't dislike Simone, but if I met Simone Biles on the street, I'm not gonna bring up the fact that, oh my God, that's the girl that quit, during the Olympics. Yeah, come on. I'm not gonna go to her house and spray paint quitter on her golden gates or something like that. This is what they think if you disagree with the narrative that you're going to do. No, most people are not gonna do that. It's just an opinion, okay? And the Olympics in general right now, though, on a side note, I really hope the ratings are not good for a variety of reasons. Obviously, there's no fans in the stands. People just aren't watching. I think the political messages probably still affecting like it did the NBA back in 2020. We had, Gwen Berry when she was the hammer throw girl. You've got the other two, they're hands on the chest and they're proud to be an American and representing. And Gwen Berry is putting the activist shirt on. Didn't look good. You've had the women's soccer team kneeling before the game, then getting blown out or losing to Sweden. You've got the men's basketball team. There have been just L's. The U.S. has been taking some L's. Gwen Berry, okay, the women's soccer team. You've got the men's basketball team losing to France, and then this other chick, I guess from Costa Rica, apparently she did her little not U.S. but her little Black Lives Matter fist in the air at the end of her floor routine that no one even knew that's what it was. Here's the funny thing about this, right? She did this. No one thought it was a BLM fist raise. They just thought she was ending her routine, and you could have let that be that. Okay, you slid one in, nobody noticed, but no, it's about me. I've said this before, and I've said it again. A lot of these athletes are about attention on me. They don't care about the team. I'm here. This is the biggest stage. I need the lights on me. Even if I suck. This girl was apparently way down the rung when it came to floor exercise talent. She was below mediocre. Does this, look it up, I forgot her name. But I think it was Costa Rica. And she brought it to the media attention that was what she did at the end of her routine to stand for, for racial inequality, etc., etc. You brought that to the forefront. Why? Okay, you're not even a relevant athlete in the sense that people are noticing what you're doing on the world stage. But so what do? It's all about me, and it's just sad. The Olympics should be about sports, man. I said this how many videos ago, and I'll say it again. Sports and politics and media, sports and politics do not need to be put together, people. Why can't we just focus on sports? Way back when I was in high school and stuff, like when we came into before school in the morning, we were talking about the NBA or the NFL game from the night before. That was it, man. We just talked about the athletes. We talked about the performances. We talked about the lack of performances. It was always just about the sport. Nobody ever mentioned presidential election. Nobody ever mentioned left wing, right wing, Democratic view, Republican view, liberal, conservative. These were not topics that were discussed when sports was on the table. Why is it now every time there's an event that someone has to do something, someone has to get on a stage, somebody has to make it known that I'm doing this for my people or my... Why? We're doing sports. You should be making known that you're doing it for your team, okay? Or if it's an individual sport, I'm here to win. I'm here to win for me in sports, okay? I want to be on the gold medal. I want to be in first place for my sport, okay? Not to make some statement. You want to do that after the sport's over? Sure. I don't know. Go run for Congress. Go do whatever it is you want to do. Run for mayor. But we're turning away from that, and people are turning off sports as a result. We're starting to give up. My sister last night was so frustrated with how lackadaisical some of these athletes were. She stopped watching the gymnastics. It was a replay because she missed it during the day, but she said she just turned it off because everyone is so concerned about political statements now. Like, I think it's affecting their performances out there because people trying to make a point that's not sports related. There's a theory going around that Simone Biles actually jumped out of this because she did not want to be forced to make a political statement on the gold medal stand if the U.S. had won. Like maybe the people were pressuring her to do something. You know, hey, when you get up there, make sure you raise the fist, or you have to put this jersey on if you win gold, to represent your, you know, your belief that, you know, Black Lives Matter and racial inequality. That it's a theory. Obviously, I don't really buy into that, but I've heard rumors that maybe she ducked out of that so she wouldn't have that pressure, because no one cares about the silver medalist. It's all about the gold medalist. I wish someone had told Gwen Berry that no one gives a damn about the bronze finisher, and you up there with a you were third. Okay, are you kidding me? No one even knew who you were before this, but now you made a name for yourself. Congratulations. So let me go ahead and wrap this up here. But that was you know, my 2 cents on Simone. Let me know what you think. If you thought she quit, if you thought, hey, it, you know, mental instability really did affect this girl, the pressure of performing over all these years or whatever finally got to her, blah 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 blah, whatever, it's cool. I'm not gonna call you an ist or anything like that, and I hope you don't call me an ist, but hey, I digress. Thank you for joining me today, as always, and I hope you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a like if you like the video, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care.